Hi everyone, Jenny Woolsey here, author and speaker. Today I want to talk to my friends out there and the people who I don't know, who I'm still calling friends because I'm sure if I knew you we would be friends, who have a craniofacial syndrome. So I was born with a rare craniofacial syndrome called Crouzon syndrome, Crouzon, named after the doctor who first diagnosed patients with it. And that meant that the bones in my skull and my face were too small and they didn't grow in the right way. So I had really big bulgy eyes, like froggy eyes. That's actually how the nurse described my eyes to my father when she rang him. And I had a large prominent jaw, so these bones in the middle of my face were really small and flat. So as I grew, my face grew out of proportion. So those of you with Crouzon syndrome, if you have it or your children have it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I thought I would explain for anybody else who is listening. I also have two children with the syndrome as well. And they've actually been through 25 operations, way more than what I had in my time. I went through the pioneering surgeries, and there were some complications and I lost a lot of sight. That can still happen, unfortunately, today. So, but I want to be positive today. If you are a person with Crouzon syndrome, or you have a child with Crouzon syndrome, or Apert or Trencher Collins or Golden Har, or there's a few others as well. I want to talk to you too. So the world tends to stare at us, look at us. We feel like misfits, we feel like outcasts, we feel like freaks. You know, when the Australian Women's Weekly wrote an article on Crouzon syndrome in 1977, they called it a grotesque deformity, and I was worse than the children they featured. So that really caused a lot of heartache for me, and I didn't feel worthwhile as a person or valued, because what is worse than a grotesque deformity, if that's what's written in the national magazine that everybody in Australia would read at the time? So I had pretty low self-esteem growing up, but I also had this inner determination. My parents loved me. They told me I was valuable, I was worthwhile. And that I held on to that through my childhood, through all the bad times, and through my teenage years I held on to it. And even into my 20s and 30s I held on to it. When the world wanted to tell me that, I didn't mean anything, I remembered that I was important. One, that God loved me, and two, that my parents loved me, and three, I had friends, and my friends loved me. They saw past the outside, and they saw into my heart, and they saw my personality. I was really a fun, outgoing person when I didn't have my social anxiety. It's like I had two personalities. I had the real fun, outgoing Jenny around all my friends. I think that was the real me. But then when I was going into situations where I didn't know the person, I was the opposite. And I was an introvert, and I had really bad social anxiety and shyness because I didn't know how they were going to react to me. And often people reacted in a really negative way before I had my final surgery. And the thing is, after I had my final surgery, and you couldn't really tell, part that I have a tracheostomy scar on my throat, that I had surgery, but I still carried all those years of trauma and bullying and being picked on with me that I didn't actually see my new face. I only saw myself as my old face. And then, so I tried to forget that I had Crouzons. And then when my daughter was born in 2001, and she has Crouzons, I had to actually deal with it. And I used to have panic attacks telling people that I had a daughter with Crouzons, and then I had to explain that I had it too. So I then had to deal with all the stuff that I had pushed down and down and down. So I'm sure there are people out there who can identify with that. Well, I wasn't actually going to talk about that. So let's get back to what I was going to talk about, which is that no matter how the world is treating you and how you feel about all your experiences, or if you have children and you're the parent of a child and you're watching them cope with their surgeries and you're watching them being stared at or maybe picked on or bullied. If you're a parent, let's talk to the parents first. If you're a parent, make sure your child knows they are loved. Make sure they know that they are valuable and they are worthwhile. Build up their self-esteem, because that will help against the people who want to knock them down. Put them into activities that they love, whether it be a sport or Girl Guides, Girl Scouts, church youth group, something where they really love to be, and that will help them. Build their strengths, whatever they are good at, work on that, because that's the direction their life's purpose will go. And just make sure they know that there's more to them than their face. That's just one part of them. And the people who mind don't matter. And the people who matter don't mind. That's a good quote by Dr. Seuss. So people in my age or younger, you have Crouzon syndrome or another craniofacial syndrome, and you've had your surgeries, and I just want to speak to you now. You may be like me and you've still got that child inside and you think everybody still sees it. Well, even if they do, even if your face is still different, who cares? You have a life's purpose. You are meant to be doing something with your life. You have a light. It's your job to find that light and to go out into the world and help others. So think about what is your strength? What are you good at? Because in that strength is your life's purpose. Now, I was a teacher for 25 years and I taught hundreds of children, and I loved that. And that door closed due to anxiety and depression. So watch out for your mental health. And now I'm going out to talk to people and encourage them, those who don't feel like they fit in the world, to have a great life. So I just want to encourage you today that if you feel like a misfit, that you need to put your shoulders back, put your head up, and say, I belong in this world. I am great, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am loved. And I'm going to not let the haters win. They probably don't know you anyway. And I'm going to live out my life's purpose. I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to do what it takes to be the best person I can be. So I hope that has helped someone today, and I just want to say God bless, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Jenny Woolsey, author and speaker. See ya.